Sumac can record payment information and process credit card payments instantly. For example, you may want to use Sumac to process payments for donations, ticket sales, or registrations. In order for Sumac to process payments, either in your office or on your website, you must first open a merchant account with one of Sumac's supported payment processors. For a complete list of the payment processors Sumac supports, go to the About page on the Sumac website. When your merchant account is opened, the payment processor sends you a list of account numbers, IDs, and passwords. Some of them are for using the website provided by the payment processor. Others are used to configure your card swipe machine if you've got one. And others are used for telling Sumac how to connect and process payment transactions. Your Sumac administrator must tell Sumac about your merchant account so that Sumac can process payments. Under Utilities, choose Customize Database and Preferences. Click the Payments tab. Let's set up a new account with IATS. Open the Payment Processor Name drop-down menu and select IATS. When you select the payment processor name, notice that Sumac also fills in the payment processor's website. Then you need a logon ID and password. These details are different for each payment processor and are provided by your payment processor directly. For example, for Moneris, the logon ID and password are called the Direct Post Store ID and Key. You should refer to the Payment Processor Identification chapter of the Sumac User's Guide to find the correct format for the logon ID and password for your chosen payment processor. In this example for IATS, the logon ID is your IATS Link User ID, an alphanumeric ID. Then enter your password, which, in the case of IATS, is your IATS Link User password. If you want to make account codes mandatory in payment records, put a check mark here. One other option on this page is occasionally necessary for payment processing. When a payment processor requires address verification, Sumac normally uses the contact's preferred address, either their residence or business address. But if you want to force Sumac to always use the residence address, click this checkbox. Some countries have eliminated very small denomination coins. For example, Canada used to have 1-cent coins, pennies, but now its smallest denomination coin is 5 cents. So now, cash transactions are rounded up or down to the nearest 5 cents. In practice, the amounts are trivial, but if you are using Sumac ledger entries, the penny rounding can cause ledger entries to be out of balance. To solve this problem, create a penny rounding account and specify the account here. You should also specify the amount below which penny rounding applies. This will typically be the value of the smallest coin in circulation. So in Canada, it would be 5 cents. If you are using payment batches, put a check mark here. You can also specify your organization's fiscal start month and start day here. Click OK to save these preferences in Sumac. Sumac informs you that you need to quit and restart Sumac for these options to take effect, so you should do so now. Now, Sumac is configured to process payments. At this point, it's a good idea to test processing a payment to ensure that everything works properly. Open your payments list and click New. Choose a contact to test with. Because we're processing a payment for testing purposes, be sure to delete this payment record after testing. Enter an amount for this payment. Choose a payment type that applies to a credit card. Enter a credit card number. You should not use a real credit card number, as it may process a payment on that credit card. We suggest using a credit card number designated for testing purposes. Your payment processor can provide you with a test account number and transactions so that you can confirm the credit card processing is working properly. For Visa, you can try an invalid number that is 4 followed by 15 ones. Choose an expiry month and year. Note these must be valid numbers for a future date. If you enter a 2-digit year, Sumac automatically turns it into a 4-digit year. Enter the verification value, which is a 3 or 4-digit number usually found on the back of a credit card or in small letters imprinted on the front of the card. Enter the contact's name as it appears on the credit card. For this test, though, I'll just enter the name as it's listed in my database. Click Process. Sumac should give you an error message saying that the credit card information cannot be authenticated. This means that Sumac is correctly set up for processing payments. It was able to send the credit card information to the payment processor and receive a response. If a payment is not processed, Sumac receives an error message and displays it in the payment record. If the payment is processed successfully, then the authorization code is filled in, and the transaction is closed and saved to the database. Check out more training videos to learn more about Sumac.